When Service Broker came on the scene, or MyIT Service Broker came on the scene, to be honest, I was thoroughly confused. BMC, brought it out last fall. They were telling us about it. I didn't understand what it was all about. This whole catalog sprawl thing. The customers I had worked with hadn't been talking about it, so I didn't really get it. And what I'm hoping is out of today, once you all see how the pieces fit together, you'll be where I am, where I now get it and I understand it. And I think, Dick, the email you read was perfect. The perfect example of why Service Broker. And hopefully by the end of the call, everybody's going to be able to articulate that pretty well. Key thing is making it easy for your end users, still communicating with everybody who's providing services, right? Regardless of where the services are coming from. Maybe they're using your Remedy or Remedy Force instance. Maybe it's an external provider that has their own instance. Maybe it's within your organization, but they're using their own JIRA or something like that. Requests can go anywhere. And sure, in the past, there were always ways to transfer something from Remedy Force to JIRA or Remedy to JIRA or back and forth. But the idea with Service Broker Edition is to get it to the right place at the right time and with the right people. So catalog sprawl is basically that you're getting tickets done in a lot of different places. That's my very unscientific explanation of it. Stuff is happening in different places. Right now, they're finding out that a lot of companies are running multiple service catalogs. They're probably things we don't even think about as being a service catalog. I'm thinking here, when I was at BMC, we had an external company that handled our benefits. So if I had questions around, adding a dependent or dependent getting married or something going on, or I wanted to change my coverage or whatever, I couldn't just send an email or go to MyIT and send it to my HR department, right? Because it would probably come back and say, go to the external site. So, and I never thought of that as a separate service catalog, but it really was. I had to figure out what the URL was so I could find, the URL for the benefits site, and I was really bad at tracking that kind of stuff. And then I had to remember my login, my ID, my login for it, go into there, figure out their site, find the right place to ask the question and put in the question. I know that sounds like I'm making a big deal out of something that shouldn't be that hard, but really it was. I didn't do it that often. So having to find that for me was a big deal. And it didn't even occur to me that is a separate service catalog. It's actually the example we're going to be using today. So on the IT side, HR, needs to, especially internal portals, IT's got a lot of stuff to maintain if it's internal. External, your service provider is hopefully maintaining that, but there may be some stuff the IT needs to do to make sure that's all working, sharing, data files and things like that. And of course, employee productivity. Luckily, I didn't spend 2 days a month trying to figure out the benefits resource site. But as we get more portals out there and trying to remember where to log on, we do waste some time, and it's frustrating. I don't know if any of you have had that experience, but for me it was. And that's where Service Broker is all about. I think most of you are familiar with MyIT. MyIT is the self-service portal that BMC has for the Remedy system. The idea is people go there and whatever they're requesting, in terms of Remedy, in terms of their services, they can see on MyIT. Service Broker extends that. It's not just about what you're going to be putting through to Remedy. It's wherever you're going to go in the back end. So that's why MyIT Service Broker, because the Service Broker services are exposed in MyIT. And that, again, that'll make more sense when we see it. So some standard lingo here. On the end users, again, one place to go. I don't know if I call it iTunes, but it's one place to go to get services. I don't need to remember our benefits resource URL anymore. And then on the back end of MyIT, it's a real nice place to have multiple services. IT can control it. They can report on it. They can even open up the back end to the vendors. So if a vendor has developed a service that Service Broker can use, they can actually put that into the back end of Service Broker themselves. So, or you can pull it automatically from that external service provider once you've got the settings set up. So Flexera, for example, has written multiple connectors that for the Service Broker Edition, those can be brought into there, and we can go ahead and leverage those. The goal, of course, is over time to get more and more of those pre-built integrations, services, whatever you want to call them, built by the vendors so that we can keep exposing them in Service Broker, and then you all can just use them. It's a fairly new product. It's been in production probably, I want to say last October. Might not have the exact month, but it has been in production for less than a year. So BMC is still working on building up that ecosystem, but that's the goal. And I probably said some of this already. Again, Shadow IT grows. If I can't figure out how to get to the benefits site, maybe I'll find some other way to access that time. Maybe I'll call, which is a higher price of service, although it was even harder to get through on the phone number than it was on the online site for our particular vendor. But the idea is, again, workers are going to search around and do what they need to do. And I'll let you guys read this slide. I won't read it to you. And I think you'll see when we go in why productivity jumps. So here I am sitting in MyIT. I believe this is MyIT 3.1, and I've got various stuff going on. And again, hopefully most of you have used MyIT because, of course, the idea is here if I'm having something going on, I can start typing it in, and I'm going to go ahead and get items. I'm going to get knowledge base articles, service requests, whatever is going on out here. So it's supposed to be a portal where you can come in and, among many other things, put in your request, look at your knowledge articles, do what you need to do from one portal. So if you do a kind of a standalone, let me get back. Let me do that search again. I'm going to do our standard SRDs, standard service requests from the BMC side, and I hit the wrong one, of course. Go ahead and hit this one. So standard SRD in Remedy, probably familiar with a lot of you. Some of you said you were using SRM. I've got a list of questions out here. Again, based upon what I pick on the question, other questions may reappear, and I can go ahead and I can put this through. If I actually submitted this is going to create an incident in Remedy, and somebody's going to get assigned that incident. They're going to start working at it. You've got some things out here. You've got some costs. You've got some instructions, some things you can do here. That's the standard SRD, standard service request definition from BMC. Over here, I have a benefits question. Same place, right? Same area. I could have typed in here. I could have typed benefits if I wanted to, and found my benefits question there. I just chose to expose it out here. When I click on that one, it's going to look different. We've got some details here. This is a description of the service. So I'm not the most imaginative one, but the idea is you can put things out here and start explaining what's going on around the service. I definitely want to put in a benefits question, so this is the right service for me. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Request Now. Similar to the service request definitions in Remedy, I've got a series of questions. Maybe how much is my monthly cost? I can have dynamic questions, just like I had if it was for me. That name of that family member disappeared. And then more details. Help. So we go ahead and put that in. I've got a page 1 here, and I've got a page 2. So it's not just a one long thing like we have with the service request definitions. To make it a little bit easier on your users, you can split them up into pages. Again, I didn't get massively imaginative, but I have some more stuff on page 2. I could have more questions out here. And we're going to see how we configure those questions in just a minute. I go ahead and complete the request, and in the real world environment, this is going out not to Remedy. This is going out to my benefits resource site. Through whatever the APIs are that we've done with them, we've set it up. It's going over there. It's creating a ticket in their system. When they answer it, it's going to come back to my system. I don't have to go to their site. I don't have to go to a different portal. I'm right here in MyIT, and if I click on my request thing, you can see right here, I've got that benefits question with my other kinds of services that I've requested. And that's the beauty of Service Broker Edition. And I'm embarrassed. I will not tell you how many months it took me to understand that, but I finally understood it earlier this year. Now you can figure out the months. It took me too long. Hopefully it's going to take you guys a lot less time to figure that out. This went out, in a real world environment, this went out to a different system. They're working it right now. They're going to answer me back, and when comments come back, the comments are going to show up here. Now, because this isn't real world, because this is a demo system, this actually went to Smart IT. I actually threw this back into a work order because you can use this to go ahead and work with Remedy objects if you want to. That's totally available as well. So it actually did come back here within the open work orders, and I probably need to refresh my console here. Whoops, there's my refresh button. And I've got it sitting here, this work order. If I respond back, it's going to go back. Now, that's not what you would normally do, right? You've got plenty of ways to communicate with the Remedy system using service request definitions. But for the purposes of the demo, I had to go back there. But in the real world, this would have gone somewhere else. They would have answered and come back. And I'm going to pause for a second and just check the Q&A window and see if there's any questions yet. not looking like it. So in a nutshell, and we're going to see how this gets set up, but in a nutshell, that's why Service Broker. I don't have to go to 5 different portals to do 5 different things because my company has chosen to put things in 5 different places. The customer Dick was talking about, the DevOps teams came in, got really excited, did a service catalog, and somebody else did a service catalog, and Automation has a service catalog, and of course Remedy has a service catalog. And suddenly, we've got 4 places to go, and we have to remember where to go. And yeah, you can put links on your internet page and all that kind of thing, but now you have one place, and they can go wherever they're going to go. So what's the magic that makes this happen? I'm going to go to the back end, and I'm logged in as a particular role. I'm Hannah, and Hannah's an administrator because I wanted to have everything available. You can actually have different roles on the back end. So as I mentioned, let's say Flexera, for example, if they were one of your vendors and they were building some connectors for you, they could come in here as a particular role and be able to just update the services and make sure that, or update the workflow so that you have their connectors. There's administrator roles that can't do as much. There are things you can do back here, but I like being in as an administrator, gets to do everything. You can start seeing we've got some notifications going on back here, so I kind of know what's going on. If I go to reports, I can see some trending and costing and things like that. So there is some reporting out of here. And this is something BMC is going to continue to enhance. It's start off with some basic things. It's going to continue to enhance. But let's say Hannah got the request to set up a new service. And I'm going to pick on benefits again, just because I have some stuff. They say, well, we want a new service around the benefits as well, benefits update or something like that. So she's going to come in here. She's going to go ahead and click on new service. And we'll call it benefits update, just so I can find it later. And then you have some templates. And the templates basically drive some questions you have around your catalog service. I don't know if you remember, but when I first popped it up, there was a description that came up. Based upon what I picked, there's just some different questions. And yes, of course, you can configure new templates. Don't worry that much about it. You'll get used to them as we move forward. I'm going to go ahead and say SaaS. And I'm going to call this version 1.0 and create the service. So that's how you start off with the basics. You want to put a logo here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my desktop, find my benefits, or what do I call it? Benefits CPG. Very exciting benefits logo there. And then you start filling out. This is the stuff that comes from the template, by the way. The questions you see here, the fields you see here are coming from the template. So I'm going to cheat and copy from a notepad, so I'm not sitting here typing while you're looking. You can do some images and things, service description. Of course, you can have rich text formatting. Because I'm doing this from a notepad, it's not going to be quite as exciting. I can go ahead and put this in here, and those are the only ones that are required. You can see down here, technical specs are required. I could attach some resources, so if there's a file I want them to look at, maybe a very dense, I don't know, security or something like that, or all the details about our healthcare service, etc. Over here on the top right is where I start thinking about pricing. Now, I'm going to keep this one free because this is just a benefits question or benefits update. But this could be, let's say it's setting up an account with an external vendor and there's a one-time price for that. I could go ahead and attach that to the service and then later report on that. Or there's a recurring payment. I'm signing up for Dish Network, woohoo, and there's a billing cycle and I'm going to pay it monthly and it'll tell me my pricing. So those kinds of things are available as well. Maybe a good thing on this one-time payment would be on our American Express cards, we have an annual fee. So maybe that's next, that would be a recurring payment annual to make sure I know that that's going to cost us that much money. So some pricing around here. I'm going to go ahead and categorize this as human resources. And a few other things I can do. I can do some tags, service connector. I'm going to hold off on service connector and fulfillment because we're going to see how we tag workflow to this. So some basic things you do, and this was pretty much on that first screen. When I hit the benefits question, that's kind of here. These details, the description, that's pretty much what we're doing there.